our neighborhood. It's so sweet. So the whole neighborhood's being attacked. Yeah, and it's so fun. It's fun.
You can do that at one day.
I don't know what it's situation, but mine are okay.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the special council meeting of May 14th, 2024 is called to order. Anyone attending the meeting needs amplified headphones, please raise their hand. We'll bring those to you. Just a reminder, tonight is a special meeting and there will be no public comment. And let's write for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Donna, do a roll call, please.
I will. Councilmember Blush.
Here.
Councilmember Sherman. Here. Councilmember Gutierrez.
Here.
Mayor Nesco.
Here.
Councilmember Stearns.
Here.
And Councilmember Gilmore.
Here. Thank you, Donna.
You're welcome.
All right, City Manager Mark Ziegler has details for us about the interview process.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council members. Tonight, the council will interview each candidate, one at a time for a maximum of 30 minutes. There'll be followed by what could be some informal, time that the candidate could, add any other information that they may, deem fit. So, the interview order will be determined by a random draw. We've got the names up here in a jar. The council will ask predetermined questions to each candidate. We won't deviate from that. Those will rotate through the council that are on your list. Following the interviews, the council will convene into an executive session for 15 minutes, but with no decisions to be made, just to discuss the qualifications of the candidates. After the executive session, we'll reconvene the meeting. The mayor will ask for nominations from the council. Candidates to be considered. No second is needed for those nominations. The nomination period is closed by motion, a second and majority vote of the council at that point. The council members may deliberate on matters such as criteria for selection in a nominated group of candidates at that time as well. After whatever type of deliberation takes place, the mayor will poll the council members to determine whether you're ready to take a vote. At that point, city clerk will do a roll call vote. And the first candidate that receives a majority vote, which is 4 in this case, would be the candidate selected. And we have planned for swearing in on the 21st of May. We're in May, aren't we? Next week. In fairness of all the candidates, we're going to ask the candidates meet outside and wait outside during the interviews. So the particular candidate can ask questions that's in the room, and those don't hear the questions at the same time. So Public Works Director Jay Harris is going to help those individuals outside and make sure that they're kept company out there. So Mr. Mayor, it's up to you at this point.
All right. Lot draw?
Yeah.
Okay.
You gonna pick it? Sure.
I'll
Okay.
number it. So this is number 1. It's me, Anderson.
Right, of course.
You're first. Welcome.
Kathleen Michelle.
Kathleen McCall is number 2. Order of the Park. Lindsay Sapp is number 3. So that should make David Herrick number 4.
Right.
Yeah, Isaiah, if you'll take our other candidates out to the main room.
People see it.
If there's a set of questions in front of you there, you can refer to, at the end of the interview, if you'll please leave them on the table for the next candidates. Thank you.
This is my first high ticket. Welcome.
Right there.
First question here for you is what steps have you taken to prepare yourself for this position if selected?
I haven't taken any specific steps for this position. This really was something that I happened to notice in the newspaper 2 weeks ago. And I thought, you know what, it's now or never. It's now or never that I do it. However, I have familiarized myself a little bit with past meetings. And of course, being a member of the community, I know, in my opinion, what I would like to see happen, what I would like to see for the future. And so I think the next step is to take that in action and just go with it and just run with what I feel would be best and those ideas to put those ideas into place.
All right. All right, here we go. What are the 3 highest priorities or issues you believe the council needs to address in the short term, which is 1 to 3 years, and the long term, 3 to 5 years? How would you propose to address these, like transportation, water supply, human services, water quality, fiscal management, parks, open spaces, etc.? We can break this down if you'd like.
Oh yeah, that was a lot.
Yeah, I know, it's a big question here. So let's go with the first part. What are the 3 highest priorities or issues you believe the council needs to address in the short term and the long term? We'll start there.
I think one of the biggest issues over the last, I would say 6 months I've seen is probably the parks. With that being the transient or the homeless there all the time, the drug usage, the items we're finding, the paraphernalia we're finding in the parks, the graffiti that's coming up in the parks. I think we have so many younger kids in the community that's one of the only things we have for them right now. To keep them company or to keep them busy, I should say. That's not video games or TV or something like that. We're so limited on what we have available for them to do. And I think the biggest thing we need to do is keep it safe and keep it clean for them and keep it available at all times for them without having any worry. And so just having been there and going to the parks and seeing what I see, hearing what I hear, I think that's probably one of the biggest things right now. Is making sure it continues to stay clean, making sure we're on top of that, having some sort of process in place where it's consistently that way, not just every other day or during, business hours that it stays clean. It's all the time and always safe for them regardless of the time that they are there.
Okay, so that falls into how would you propose to address these?
I think the first thing I would do is probably, and I know we do have, I believe it's the city who does go in and clean up and clean the bathrooms, do something like that. Maybe doing an extracurricular for the school kids, either middle school, high school, to have something where they can earn some sort of credit to go down there and clean it up. And make it something that we can involve the rest of the community in. Or, gosh, I'm more than happy to do it. I'm more than happy to do that. I don't mind. But maybe doing a volunteer day or something like that, where we can do that consistently, weekly, every other week, to make sure it continues to stay that way.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any regional issues or forums in which you have a particular interest or expertise? For example, economic development, annexation, or housing. For examples.
I think right now. It's probably in. A nationwide interest of the economic development and housing, because everything is going up, but nothing's. Remaining the same, or we're not. Doing anything, or we're not able to do anything. To keep things affordable. So everything's going up, but at the same time, nothing's changing. So my biggest though is housing. My biggest thing is housing, and that would be a huge interest of mine because. I see it all the time. There are so many, especially in our community, so many low income or fixed income. Households that they are having a hard time affording their normal house, their normal rent, their normal mortgage. And that, I wouldn't even consider that an interest, more of a passion on trying to figure out something to do. Because I've also been personally hit with, not myself, but people that I've known where they've had to move. From a home to an apartment because they can no longer afford it because of life. So seeing that, it's very heartbreaking. Seeing the housing affordability around here, it's very hard.
How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. How are you? Eric?
Balancing a pitty community engagement is challenging. How do you prioritize your efforts to weigh facts, decisions, and make process?
I think those change all the time. Because at any given moment, you could have a factor that changes the importance of something from first place to second place, just depending on situations. But I would take a look at what needed to be done, and I think I use this in every aspect of my life. Every decision I have to do. What is the most important to me at this moment, or what is the most important that needs to be done at this moment? And then I figure out, okay, these are the steps I need to accomplish that. What's the next one? I kind of make a list. And going through that list, checking off those boxes and doing that and not getting sidetracked, because I'm very good for that at times. Making sure that I'm just checking off those boxes and doing in what my heart feels to be the most important. So what's gonna make the most impact? Let's start there. Let's do that one. What's gonna make the second highest impact? Let's go to that one. So just depending on the topics, the subjects, the things that need to get done is where I would start.
Thank you.
Hi, Tiffany. Homelessness and affordable housing are polarizing topics. How would you approach this issue as a council member? What happens if the situation doesn't get better or worsens?
Both are very big issues in our community. But it's so very hard to say what I would do without knowing all of the factors. What have you guys already done? What is within our means? What can we do? What can we not do? I think with that, I can't answer that question straight out because I don't know. What you guys have already tried doing, what we're able to do, what is allowed to be done, what our limits are. I don't know any of that. So without knowing that, I can't give you a straight answer. But I do know I would take everything into consideration and go from there. Just because my opinion is what it is, may not be somebody else's. And so if things were to get better, wonderful. That's what our goal is. If they were to worsen, then you know what? We move on to something different and try a different approach to it and see what happens next time.
Okay, not the last preset question. Impending development is inevitable, residential and commercial. What do you believe are the most significant challenges and opportunities to grow?
I think some of the most significant challenges to growth are feasibility, time. If we are only given so much, and support is a huge one. If we're not backed by, and it's not just as a city, but, you know, within ourselves, if we're not, if we don't have that support, we can't grow. We can't grow. And so I think that would probably be the biggest significant challenge is support and also, of course, funds. If you don't have the funds to do what you want to do, then that's gonna be a huge challenge right there. The biggest, the most. The biggest opportunity, I think, when it comes to growth is seeing how everything's going. You have this idea in your head on what something should look like. And having a platform to do so, like city council or higher, you have that platform to have those opportunities, to make a difference, to see something happen. And I think being able to just have an opportunity to do something is huge. And I think that's, as a council, you have the opportunity to see that. You have the voice to do that. And I think it's special. It's very special.
Donna, what's our time?
It's been 10 minutes.
Okay, Council, George, you want to take a question, Ted?
Sure. What strengths do you believe are your greatest asset to the council?
I'm stubborn. I don't let down easy. I do not let down easy, and I'm very opinionated. So, I mean, you can look at that as a strength or a weakness. I look at it as a strength because I am very opinionated and I don't back down. When I have passion for something, you're gonna know it. You are going to know it, and I'm gonna make it very clear.
All right, explain your current and past community involvement with the city, nonprofit, task force, committees, or other groups, and how has this involvement contributed to the community?
So that is very limited. I haven't had much involvement for one reason or another, that I'm a single mom, 19 years. I don't have time to do that. Now that my son is grown, I'm ready to do all of the things that I can do now. As of September of 2022 is when I started with my current employer. And we do work with the nonprofits. We are working with the Youth Connection. We also work with Quixote Village and also with the housing to do Warm Hearts. So we also raise money and collect donations for the women's shelter. And so my volunteer work or any involvement has been extremely limited up until the last year and a half. But since then, I have been a huge advocate for the women's shelter and the Connection Center, as well as Quixote Village, all for one reason or another, but all are extremely important to me.
Thank you.
You discuss the most difficult group you've had to gain cooperation from and describe how you have handled that outcome.
The most difficult group that I've had to gain cooperation from.
Describe how you have handled that.
The only group that I have had to gain cooperation from. And the most difficult, I would have to say, are younger boys. And no, that does not include any real, it was a sports team for my son. And, 7, 8-year-old boys, they don't like to listen. They don't like to listen. They like to do their own thing. And so that was, we're playing a sport here. Yes, I understand it's supposed to be fun. But there's still things that we need to accomplish while we're doing this. But I would have to say that's probably one of the biggest and most difficult things I've ever had to do when I helped coach one of his teams. And gaining cooperation from them in any way, shape, or form was extremely difficult. However, when you make something difficult or when you just have to make it a fun thing, that's what I had to do. That's what I had to do. I had to make it fun and exciting. And they were at that point, you make something fun and exciting, throw a few superhero terms in there, then you're good. So.
What kind of decisions are most difficult for you to make?
I generally don't have a difficult time making decisions. I make decisions very easily. I hear every side of the story regardless of what the decision is. And I just go, my decision is my decision. It's not based on the opinion of one person or another. It's my decision, it's my opinion, and you don't like it, that's okay. That's okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, do you want to continue the next two questions for the sake of time? I want to make sure,
What do we got left?
well, for the next candidates, I think that's what we have to consider is if we get through the next candidates, maybe we stop at 10 just to be consistent, not knowing how long the answers will be for the next candidates. Offer Tiffany an opportunity to add anything that she may have missed or speak about anything else that she thinks might be of interest to the council at this time. If that works for you, just a suggestion.
Is there anything else you'd like to add to what's covered, or you got any closer?
The only thing I would like to add is, yes, I completely understand my qualifications may not be the best or the most, I may not be the most experienced in any way, but I am so passionate about this community. And now that I have the time on my hands to do so, I'm very excited to see what I have the ability to do, what I can do for this community. I've lived here for 24 years. I can never see myself moving. And I'm so passionate about it. I love this town so much. And I just know that given the opportunity, I think I could help do amazing things. I really do. I'm very passionate about, I wouldn't apply it otherwise. I would not be here if I really didn't think I could make a difference. And also no matter what, even though I do not have the qualifications of somebody else or the next person, I have never failed something that I've set my mind to. I bet on myself every single time, and I will always do that. So I just wanted to let you guys know, my heart's there, my energy is there, my everything is there. And I've never failed anything that I put my mind to.
Yeah.
Of course.
We're gonna trade you for.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your time.
Of course, thank you.
I should know, not that I saw, yeah. That's right, I know. Just want to get out of this chair for a second.
Hello.
Hello.
Good evening.
Ready?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Right, number one.
All right, Captain, first question. What steps have you taken to prepare yourself for this position if selected?
Well, 8 years on the council. I would think that would be my answer on that one. 2 on the commission and the rest on the council.
Great. I'm up. What are the 3 highest priorities or issues you believe the council needs to address in the short term, 1 to 3 years, long term, 3 to 5 years? And how do you propose to address these, like transportation, water supply, human services, water quality, physical management, parks, open spaces, etc.?
Well, I feel the very highest priority right now is getting our water. Getting our water taken care of, getting more storage for that so that we can bring more housing in, and more housing produces more revenue in the city. Let's see. I think that short-term and long-term, short-term, probably more short-term for water. And it could go into long-term, but get it going. Transportation, water supply, human services, transportation, I think we do pretty well with our transportation. Are we talking about Mason County Transit, that transportation? Water supply, I just addressed that. Human services, that's long-term, I feel. Water quality is a long-term, fiscal management is long-term, parks is long-term, and open space is long-term. That's,
Thank you, Kathy.
Are there any regional issues or forums in which you have a particular interest or expertise? Example, economic development, annexation, or housing.
I think housing, I'm not sure if I call it an expertise, but I'm very interested in the housing aspects of the city, getting our housing in order and getting houses for all, whether they're affordable or not affordable, hopefully affordable, but housing for all.
Right. Balancing competing community needs is challenging. How do you prioritize your efforts and weigh facts to the process?
Just a minute, let me read that. I suppose you're talking about community needs, would be housing. It would be a community need, how we would balance that. I would put that on the top of the list and would take it and make some progress with that. Mhm.
Homelessness and affordable housing are polarizing topics. How would you approach this issue as a council member? What happens if the situation doesn't get better or worsens?
Wow. Well, homelessness is a big issue. And I believe that if we did get some affordable housing, we could, real affordable housing, we could get the homeless taken care of. But for instance, I had a project today and we had a group come into my home, into my yard and do some work. And they're basically if they didn't have the place to live that they're living is in a group, they would be homeless. So they have these people do work, and in turn they get their housing provided for them. And well, it's either got to get better or it has to get worse, one or the other. And it's going to be terrible if it does not get better, the homeless in the housing, affordable housing. I'm not sure runs a full circle, how the city, how we get our money to take care of our city issues. So
Impending development is inevitable, both residential and commercial. What do you believe are the most significant challenges and opportunities to grow?
Um, it is inevitable. Development is inevitable. We want to do it right. We want to productive for all, for the businessmen that come in and want to open new business, wants to build affordable housing. What do you believe are the most significant challenges and opportunities to grow? I believe that making it affordable for our builders to come in and build and make housing affordable. And I think that is the opportunity to growth, is to make it affordable for the builders and the businessmen to come in.
What strengths do you think would be your greatest asset to the council?
Well, I get out there and I mix with the people and I listen to what they have to say and their problems they have, they're positive, they're negative, and try to develop a plan to make it work for everybody.
Okay. Explain your current and past community involvement with the city, nonprofits, task forces, committees, and other such groups. And how has this involvement contributed to the community?
Well, I'm involved in the community a lot. Have been on the Lions Club since 2017. We paired with the city and got our basketball court done at the end of the parking lot. And I see people, young and old, playing on that court a lot. And they're nonprofit. I believe that everything we do, everything we're involved with, it has to do with producing something positive for the community. It's a very important thing to do. And that's where I always say the volunteer and the community workers is what makes the world go round. And if we did not depend on the nonprofits to get stuff done, talk about Rotary, Kiwanis, Lions Club, the companies that take care of the homeless and the people in need, very important. So that's my involvement, my idea of involvement.
Can you discuss the most difficult group you have had to gain cooperation from and describe how you handled that?
I don't think I've ran into a difficult group. I think that if you run into a difficult group, that's where you need to sit down with some ideas and some plans to make things go smoother. But I can't remember when I do back a while back, but I won't go into that right now. But I believe when you can compromise and discuss the problem.
What kind of decisions are most difficult for you to make?
To say no. That's what I have a hard time saying no. Sometimes I'll say yes to a project or a group of people and find out that it wasn't the best thing. So I have a hard time saying no.
Right. Is there anything else you'd like to add that we covered or closing comments?
I don't think so.
Well, thank you, Patty.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, you're gonna spread it around? Oh, nice of you. Mhm. Except for you three on this end.
Right.
Half the time, I know. Consistency.
Yeah, it's a short version.
Welcome.
Are you?
We're gonna start with Councilmember Blush.
How you doing? All right, what steps have you taken to prepare yourself for this position if selected?
I actually contacted Jaden Evans after she spoke last week because I heard that they have some housing needs and I know of a property manager in town that has some very affordable units and some will be coming available soon. So I reached out to her to see if she had contacted that property manager and she said she had not. So I reached out to the property manager myself to see if there was anything they could work out to make housing available to these people, these survivors who need housing. I actually also attended a Chamber of Commerce meeting yesterday online virtually to hear the state 5-year plan for housing and homelessness. So I didn't see anybody here at that meeting, but I did learn a lot of information from the Chamber of Commerce and also from other council members from other communities. I heard people from Yakima, people from, let's see, there was people from King County, there was people from all over the state. There was so many people that were there and I heard a lot of good insights about housing. So I prepared by trying to learn about housing and how I can help solve these issues.
All right. What are the 3 highest priorities or issues you believe the council needs to address in the short term? That's 1 to 3 years, the long term, 3 to 5 years. And how would you propose to address these?
Obviously housing is the major issue that I keep hearing every single week from people. So I recently went into school for real estate, so I know a little bit about real estate now. So I want to see that improved. I want to do what I can to make connections and maybe reach out to Habitat for Humanity, see if there's anything we can do to increase housing here. Just maybe some small units for people. I also want to see maybe some better dental care available for people in this community. I'm not really seeing a lot of dental care available for people in the lower income. So I want to try to bridge the gap and make that possible. I would probably reach out to Neighbor Care and see if I could get some clinic out here, maybe once a week or twice a week. And I think public safety is something that you guys have done a lot to improve, and there's still a little bit more to do. So I think that would be probably my 3 main priorities.
Thank you.
Are there any regional issues or forums in which you have a particular interest or expertise? For example, economic development, annexation, or housing?
Well, as I mentioned, I went to school for real estate. I'm not quite licensed. I'm right up there, ready to get licensed. But my actual expertise is dealing with people with disabilities. I work with the Lupus Foundation of America and do a lot of advocacy work with them. I petition members of Congress in Washington, D.C. for better health care and lupus funding for research so that we can have better treatments for people with disabilities.
Balancing competing community needs is challenging. How do you prioritize your efforts and weigh facts and decision-making process?
Prioritizing and planning is kind of a special skill that I have as a mother of 5. It's kind of just necessary that I prioritize the most important things first. I actually currently do not have other employment. I put all of my effort into mothering and homeschooling my children. So I'm actually pretty available for anything that you guys need me to do right now because my kids have grown. They're pretty much ready to go forward on their own now and they're not needing me as much. So I'm very, very available for anything that you guys need me to do. If you need me in housing, if you need me anywhere else, I'm very available. So I can always prioritize anything that you guys have listed for me. I prioritize that first.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Homelessness and affordable housing are polarizing topics. How would you approach this issue as council member? What happens if the situation doesn't get better or worsens?
Well, honestly, what I've noticed is that this is probably a systemic problem across the country. It seems to be everywhere. It's not just here. It seems to be all across the state, all across the country. So, I mean, it's gonna be difficult to make it instantly better in one location, but I'm willing to do absolutely everything I can. As I mentioned, I'm willing to reach out to Habitat for Humanity and see if we can get some charity projects going. I see that there's a couple of houses being built over on Park by Habitat. Looks like it's coming up really quickly. And I'd like to see if we could have some more of these community projects to see where we can get some more housing. I'd also like to see have some discussions about what you envision for low income housing out here. If you want apartments or complexes, or if you want just maybe smaller, more affordable starter homes, something like that. But I definitely want to do anything that I can. I'm prepared for whatever.
Impending development is inevitable, both residential and commercial. What do you believe are the most significant challenges and opportunities to grow?
That's a difficult question. Would you mind repeating that for just a moment?
Absolutely. Impending development is inevitable, both residential and commercial. What do you believe are the most significant challenges and opportunities to grow?
I think the challenge is clearly money. And workers, we have a lack of workers across the state, so that's the biggest challenge, I would say. And did you ask the benefits?
Yes.
Well, obviously, we want to see housing and we want to see businesses thrive, and the more businesses that thrive, the more money that comes in for the state, and the more money for the state, more money for programs. Everybody's doing well, so we do want to see people housed. We want to see businesses opening and thriving. So the benefit is everybody goes up, everybody does better.
What strengths do you believe would be your greatest asset to the council?
I like to stand up for and represent people who don't necessarily have a voice. People with disabilities who are fighting their own fight and they can't speak publicly because I have had disability and I've been able to get myself into remission. I'm doing much better. I feel a responsibility to stand up for people that do not have the ability to speak for themselves. So I think I would represent a lot of people with disabilities in this community.
All right, explain your current and past community involvement with the city, nonprofits, task forces, committees, or other such groups, and how has this involvement contributed to the community?
Most of my work has actually been on a federal level, like I said, with the Lupus Foundation of America. Locally, I mostly get my kids involved in the library activities, the Youth Connection, and also the local YMCA. Children were team leaders for a couple of years out there. So most of my local involvement is what I get my kids involved in out here.
Right.
Can you discuss the most difficult group that you have had to gain cooperation from and describe how you have handled that outcome?
I don't really know that there's a difficult group that I can't deal with. I have friends that are on both sides of the political spectrum. I'm very open to hearing everybody's ideas and thoughts, and I'm very open to trying to compromise. So I don't really foresee a group of people that I can't handle.
All right, final question. What kind of decisions are the most difficult for you to make?
If I'm forced to choose between my family and something else. Anything else I can prioritize, but my family is the most important thing in my life. So if somebody asks me to do something that goes against the needs of my family, that's the most difficult decision because my children need my support. So.
All right. Is there anything else you'd like to add that wasn't covered, or do you have a closing statement or comment?
I don't believe so. I just wanted to let you know that I did participate in several volunteer activities with my youth. I did volunteer at the food bank in Thurston County. I volunteered at Madigan Army Medical Center as a Red Cross volunteer for 3 months. I've also done, like I said, Lupus Foundation of America work, and I've done fundraising for the Lupus Research Alliance. And I also have done, I participated in a candidate forum when I was in high school. I hosted a candidate forum. And we were able to have several candidates that were running for office in the year 2000 come and speak before our school. And so I was able to host that. And I think that's about it. Thank you very much.
Hello. All right, we're gonna start questions from Councilmember Blush.
All right. Hey, David. Dave, question number one, what steps have you taken to prepare yourself for this position if selected?
I've started reading, the stuff on your website, you got a whole lot of things about your policies and there's quite a number of documents. I've made a little bit of headway on it, but I haven't been planning to do this for like a whole long time leading up to it, so I'll have some catching up to do. But I'm aware of what's there and where the resources are. I want to be well prepared for council.
Okay. What are the 3 highest priorities or issues you believe the council needs to address in the short term, 1 to 3 years, the long term, 3 to 5 years? And how would you propose to address these?
What
Some
a great
examples.
question that is.
Ready? Okay.
I really love that question. Although it's a difficult thing to answer, I love that. I think that Shelton is going to be growing no matter what we do. But how it grows and being smart about how it grows is really important for both the traffic and keeping that smooth, for jobs. If we have more jobs here and people aren't just a bedroom community, complete, like any jobs that we can create here are going to be wonderful for the entire community. We have a population that is older than surrounding communities, and that's okay, but it might be nice to have more of a young family friendly community. So in the short term, we have developments that are happening right now already, right? We've got on both ends of town, there's new developments coming in. So we need to, in the coming year, so we're talking about utilities over the next few years. But then further out, we're looking at how are things going to build out and what's that going to look like. Does that kind of answer the question? I'd like to see, by the way, not necessarily like a Silverdale direction where we become a mall farm, which could happen. But if, as we grow, I'd like to see some beauty occurring as well. And Shelton kind of has a track record for not seeming to care about beauty, with the school killing the arts here just now, and with the demolition of historic buildings that have happened in the past. So We just need to have a carrot as we're moving forward in the future. So, does that answer your question?
Sure.
Are there any regional issues or forums in which you have a particular interest or expertise? For example, economic development, annexation, or housing? I think Shelton's gonna be growing, again, like I said earlier, in a lot of ways, but I think that, more housing would be an important thing to see happen. The jobs that grow here are going to help, we have one of the highest commuting mile per capita in the state here in Shelton. And that's keeping a lot of, car repair places in business, and that's fine. But there's other things that people could be doing than spending all their time, looking at their steering wheels. Because that's mom and dad not doing little league. That's, you're driving to some job somewhere and you're not involved in other things. And that takes away from the arts, that takes away family time, that takes away from a lot of other things that help build a community. So I think we just have to be thinking about being smart as we grow. I'm just thinking about consequences. If we're only a bedroom community, how far away are the people that are living here driving? And if that is how it's gonna go, how do we prepare for that and deal with those impacts? But we do have to accept what is and not just wish for what is.
All right. Balancing competing community needs is challenging. How do you prioritize your efforts and weigh facts in the decision-making process? Is there a question? Yep. Balancing community needs is challenging. How do you prioritize your efforts and weigh facts in the decision-making process?
And like, you're just talking about the process of making decisions. How do I balance?
And we got needs, and so how would you balance those needs in your decision making?
I think it's important to take the time to review everything, think everything through, and look short, medium, and long term for each and every decision. Consult, collaborate, listen, get input. And before you pull the trigger on something that could be kind of impulsive, look again. There's always going to be one more thing that you haven't thought about. And you just have to figure out what is that one more thing. Process is important. And it's probably better to sometimes wait on a decision than to jump in immediately. If there's something that you don't want to have to be undoing something that you've already done. Sometimes once you've gone in a direction, you can't go back. So you should think ahead.
Homelessness and affordable housing are polarizing topics. How would you approach this as a council member? What happens if the situation doesn't get better or worsens?
That's a really, really tough problem that, you build anything new, property values are high right now. You build anything new is expensive. What are we gonna do? I do think that tiny houses are a whole frontier that more could be done with. When you're talking about one lot, maybe being able to support more individual homes in it. I think about some of the designs, some of the homes that were built post-war, for example, like right after World War II, there were smaller homes that were built that were pretty efficient and pretty affordable. Just something reasonable enough that somebody can get started. And I mean, there's people that are living in RVs and are just happy to have somewhere to be and somewhere to live. And you can do a little better than that, I think, maybe with tiny homes. And I think some of the technology and techniques for those things are improving. But the zoning has to be there to allow that to happen. And we have to not be afraid of people having affordable houses and being able to get in those situations. It's better to have a cheap house than no house at all.
Impending development is inevitable, both residential and commercial. What do you believe are the most significant challenges and opportunities in growth?
I think that we're gonna be seeing, when the Belfair bypass happens, we'll be seeing more total traffic coming through here, both on Highway 101 and Highway 3, and we are also at the gateway to the Olympic Peninsula, and both on an industrial point of view and for residential and for tourism. We're in a really good position, and you just look at a map and you look at Shelton on a map. We've got so much potential here for opportunity and growth. And it's just a matter of what are we going to do with that opportunity? There's a lot of wonderful natural resources all around us. We've got 26 freshwater lakes in Mason County. Shelton is the only incorporated city in this county. We've got incredible potential. What will that look like? That's going to depend on the opportunities that we decide on one at a time as they present themselves to us on this council.
What strengths do you believe would be your greatest asset to the council?
Probably listening is up there. I try to make a point of understanding what what's in front of me and working through it and talking with people and deciding. I try to not have a predetermined decision before I have a chance to think it through, talk about it and listen. There's always really more than 2 points of view. I mean, there's the two, and then there's the one that you're not even thinking about. So, yeah, I think listening
Okay.
is like try for it.
Explain your current and past community involvement with the city, nonprofits, task forces, committees, and other such groups, and how has this involvement contributed to the community?
Okay, what kinds of things have I done? I work for the paper, as some of you know. I've been with the Shelton Mason County Journal since 1992. I do some other things. I play the cello. I talk privately. I've done some volunteer work for the Mason County Senior Activities Center. This year I'm on, I just thought it would be fun to get involved with the Connections to Theater. So any of you who haven't made it to the Something Rotten, to the play, I invite you to come and do that this coming weekend. We got one more weekend of that coming around. That's just something for fun. There's more I could be doing. There's probably some other things that I've done that I don't even remember. But Yeah, I could probably have, but I'm not retired, you know, if I were retired, I'd have more time to do things. But I spend some time doing these things.
All right.
Can you discuss the most difficult group you have had to gain cooperation from and describe how you handle that outcome? Yeah. I don't know if any of you remember when a Dodge came into the area and wanted to have an incinerator be part of this community. The potential disruption and destruction that that would have represented were unacceptable. And they were presented as being this wonderful thing by kind of a forward kind of reception, you know, PR people. And I was among the group that I got to see both ends of that entire, I had a front row seat for all of that situation. And I saw this community drive a Dodge back, and I'm proud that this community drove a Dodge back. We would have unbreathable air right now if that incinerator were here. We would have roads with 50 dump trucks an hour going up and down, ruining roads if a Dodge were here. We would have stripped out forests if a Dodge were here. It would have been terrible. And all of that energy they were going to generate was all going to California. And it was going to generate long-term about 5 jobs. It's all of it going. So I'm happy that that's not the case. Okay.
What kind of decisions are most difficult for you to make?
All. It's hard to decide anything. If the easy decisions that you think are right, like low-hanging fruit, easy, there's almost always something that you don't know about. It might appear obvious, but sometimes there's something else. So no, I don't take any decision lightly. You have to consider things. Sometimes it takes a little while, but it's worth it.
Thank you.
Is there anything else you'd like to add that was not covered, or you have closing or closing statement or comments?
Oh, I don't know. The reason I'm here is I just thought it might be a good thing to do, something I could do for the community. And yeah, I'm a cancer survivor. I'm very happy to be alive. This is one of those bucket list things. I thought someday I might get involved in government in some way, shape, or form. You know what? Someday is here. Here we are. And so that's why I'm here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having.
Thank you.
You want to invite everybody back in and form the session?
I guess it's not necessary if they're inside. Oh, to adjourn before
Yeah.
we adjourn.
Invite back in small room.
That'd be good, yeah.
I just thought that you said it.
Follow the process, yeah, okay. The audio going to pick up Anna or? YouTube. I mean, if we're in executive and individuals are in here. No.
We're gonna go on back.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Yeah, we're gonna,
Yeah.
yeah, I just wanted to make sure that the audio still wasn't picking up. If somebody wanted to have a personal conversation at any time.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Welcome. back, everybody. We got, we're inviting back in before we close the meeting. We are now moving into an executive session, to discuss qualifications of an applicant for candidate for appointment to elected office. The executive session will last 15 minutes. We will reconvene at 7:18, probably 7:19. I think. Make sure.
Right.
Back in there. Oh, we're going next one?
Yeah. Well, Oh, okay. Nice job. You got the podium.
Welcome back, everybody, and thank you, everybody who participated in this, in applying for this position. And am I opening this up, Donna?
Pardon me?
I'm opening this up?
Mhm.
Okay. Council members, the floor is open for nominations. No second is needed. We have a motion, sorry, before that, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, so now we
Be
need.
open for nominations.
Okay. Is there any nominations?
I'd like to nominate Lindsay Sapp.
I'd like to nominate David Kirk.
Okay,
I'd like to nominate Tiffany Anderson.
okay. Anything else? Right, Donna, what are we doing?
So now you need a motion and a second to close nominations if you're finished.
Do we have a motion and a second to close nominations?
Motion to close nominations.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to close nominations. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Okay, we have 3 nominations. Correct?
Correct.
The first candidate who receives 4 votes is appointed. If no single candidate receives 4 votes, in the first round, the process will be repeated until the candidate receives the required number of votes. City Clerk Nault will begin the roll call.
Okay. So we'll start with Councilmember Gilmore. Who's your vote?
On the hot seat, I'm gonna vote Lindsay Sapp.
You. Councilmember Stearns.
Tiffany Anderson.
You. Mayor Nesco.
Lindsay Sapp.
Councilmember Gutierrez.
Mr. Kirk.
You.
Lindsay Sapp.
You. Councilmember Blush.
Lindsay Sapp.
Okay. There's 4 votes.
Congratulations, Lindsay. All right, it is